Prometheus, which comes out on June 6, will apparently be a prequel to director Ridley Scott's own 1979 film Alien, which is a chilling classic in science fiction horror. While we wait for this new first chapter in the Alien universe, I thought I'd briefly look back and discuss the four main Alien films. In Alien, the crew of the mining freighter Nostromo investigate a strange distress call on an unknown planet. They unwittingly bring back a nightmarish alien creature that soon begins killing them off one by one. Alien is a masterfully atmospheric movie with incredibly effective scares. This is partly due to its setup. The Nostromo crew is a bunch of everyday people with very natural, spontaneous dialogue and interactions. With their cluttered workspaces and drab, worn clothes, the Nostromo crew almost look like high-tech truckies. They chat during meals and bicker about payment, and there isn't even a strong impression that they like each other. They are simply blue-collar workers who want to get the job done and go home. After this familiar, mundane beginning, the contrast in tone is all the more startling when the metaphorical shit hits the fan. Nearly every aspect of Alien is tailored to disturb and unnerve the viewer on multiple levels. When I think about it, it's almost Andalusian, though Alien has a linear, cohesive narrative and developed characters. The hibernation scene reduces the Nostromo crew to little more than blind, feeble babies. The horseshoe-shaped alien craft they investigate is vast, dank, and eerie, and has a rough, grimy surface resembling an exoskeleton. The space jockey, which I think is the most unsettling image in the film, is the corpse of some strange mix of human and crustacean that appears to be fused to its pilot chair, and the hole in its chest foreshadows an event later in the film. The alien reproduces by having its facehugger carrier, which is an extremely lifelike puppet, latch onto Kane, the host's face, and implant an embryo into its unfortunate host. The alien infiltrates our bodies to grow, and, in the film's most famous scene, the alien juxtaposes its birth with Kane's painful, horrifyingly gruesome death, as it bursts from his chest. This is a profoundly disturbing life cycle, as the alien is so deadly that it can violate and kill us from within our own bodies. The adult alien is another example of the film's grotesque use of juxtaposition, as it displays an alarming combination of human and inhuman traits. Its humanoid build and strangely human-like teeth give it a slight touch of familiarity, which, alongside its eyeless face, long phallic head, inner jaw, and acidic blood, renders it more frightening. The android in the crew is also far removed from both man and machine, as its disgusting innards are a white, milky, sloppy mess. I should point out that the space jockey and the sight of Ash's decapitated head, covered in slime and talking weakly to the others, actually eclipse the titular alien in terms of squirming creepiness. Swiss artist H.R. Giger contributed much of the film's art direction and the design of the alien. The alien is in keeping with much of Giger's work, which features warped, nightmarish imagery and a biomechanical style. Director Ridley Scott does an excellent job of maintaining tension throughout the film. The rickety, unstable spacecraft and the suspicion that Ash knows more than he's letting on generate a lingering feeling of unease, and the plot points serve as clear jumping points for the suspense to escalate. We feel anxious and intrigued with Kane while he is face-hugged, and the chestburster scene sets loose a ghastly monster into the ship. A little later, as the crew try to catch the alien, Parker's death at the hands of the fully sized alien turns the hunters into the hunted. The situation grows steadily more dire as more of the crew are killed. The stressful, gripping narrative culminates in a powerful climax, in which Ripley, the sole survivor, tries to escape the ship's self-destruct sequence. The pounding sound effects, Ripley's exhausted terror, and the shots of the ship blowing itself apart around her add another dose of adrenaline. The moments in which a character has to go out alone to get the cat are the only times when the tension feels forced. Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver, is strong, confident, and resourceful, but, to be honest, I found Weaver's acting to be a little flat. It wasn't until Aliens when Ripley would finally come into her own as a great character and an excellent performance. To me, the film's standout performance was Ian Holm as Ash, the Nostromo's science officer. Ash is stern, reserved, and somewhat aloof, but also possesses a grim sense of humor. It's interesting how, when watching an ensemble cast, I often gravitate toward the least likable character, but Ash has a shifty, deceptive persona that holds your interest. I suppose that, out of the 7 crew members, I can see more of myself in Ash than the others, so I find him easy to relate to. The production is decent but could have been better, especially considering the greater level of polish in contemporary sci-fi movies, and even some earlier movies. As mentioned earlier, the set pieces are vast and atmospheric, and the facehugger looks truly alive, but the adult alien, and especially the chest-burster puppet, look much less convincing. While the spaceship models don't look real, they are still very detailed and carry a definite impression of scale. However, they don't look nearly as good as the spaceship models in 2001: A Space Odyssey, which came out 11 years earlier and had a slightly lower budget. Star Wars, which came out 2 years before Alien, also had better special effects. This is only a minor complaint, but Mother, the Nostromo's central computer, really hasn't aged well, with its blinking lights and primitive displays. It feels like the crew are using a Commodore 64 or some early Atari device when they consult Mother, whereas in 2001, an older movie with older tech, HAL 9000 still looks pretty modern. Again, this is only a small problem, but it did bug me a little. Finally, Alien has a couple of unintentionally funny moments and a scene toward the end that I didn't like. After Ripley finds out that the crew were just expendable pawns of the company who were expected to bring an alien back to Earth, Ash, who was in on the plan, tries to kill her. Ash knocks Ripley unconscious and then tries to suffocate her by stuffing a rolled-up magazine down her throat. I don't know, this just feels like a needlessly troublesome, time-consuming, and silly way to kill somebody. Ash is shown to be physically strong, so why couldn't he have just quickly and cleanly broken her neck and hid the body? And when Parker, Yaphet Kotto, tries to stop Ash from killing Ripley, Ash retaliates by, squeezing Parker's man-tits. Yeah, I found this scene unintentionally funny for obvious reasons. More unintentionally amusing is the scene of the alien killing Lambert, Veronica Cartwright, the other female crew member. Just before the camera cuts to the sound of her screaming, it seriously looks like the alien's stinger tail is giving her a wedgie. I also don't like the scene with Ripley in the escape shuttle. Alien has a strong, capable woman as its protagonist, but then blatantly panders to its male audience by having Ripley stripped down to her undies. You could argue that this scene has thematic relevance. It renders Ripley more vulnerable against the alien, and is another example of the film's use of juxtaposition, contrasting Ripley's womanly body with the distinctly masculine-looking alien, but this reading is somewhat invalidated by a shot that is set up to catch Weaver's butt crack in center frame as she darts away to hide. Sigourney Weaver was really hot in 1979, but this kind of titillation feels awkward, gratuitous, and rather degrading to her character. Despite some missteps and an uneven quality of production, Alien deserves its status as a classic in science fiction horror. The great characters and dialogue contribute to a strong sense of realism, and the film has supremely disturbing imagery and a highly suspenseful, very well-structured narrative. Alien, by Ridley Scott, earns 4 stars out of 5. Thanks for watching. Cheers.